Join Bob Kolazarik as he welcomes a diverse array of guests to the enlightening talk show, Greetings from the Ashram. In each episode, Bob sits down with experts and practitioners from the world of complementary healing modalities, spirituality, and holistic wellness to delve into the transformative power of these practices. From ancient traditions to cutting-edge therapies, Greetings from the Ashram offers viewers an insightful and uplifting journey into the realms of mind, body, and spirit. So now, please welcome your host, Bob Kolazarik.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am Bob Kolazarik, your host of Greetings from the Ashram, and we're streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. It was a last minute, lineup change. Last week I said I was going to have a friend of mine on who's a chief environmental scientist, or Heartache yogi, pranic healer. Couldn't make it this evening, so you get to spend another hour with me and me alone. So I didn't have a lot of prep time, but I did want to, I think pick up on my origin story from episode 1. And this is part of my story where the biggest, most profound shift occurred for me. And I never really understood what a transformation was. I always thought it was a buzzword. Hey, experience this big transformation. But that's until, I had one and I'm like, oh, okay, this is real. People can transform and it can have profound transformations. And I get it now. I really do. The same is true about being your authentic self. I've learned, and just coming on and doing this show, just walking through that door and just having to be your true self. I mean, you can't come on and do something like this and, be full of, what, and trying to just talk buzzwords. People will see right through that. So I'm trying to be my most authentic self, share my experiences and how it's impacted me. Right. So, but walking through that door of doubt and fear. I mean, being completely yourself, like a take me as I am, or don't take me at all. It's very powerful. It's just a very powerful experience. But picking up from my origin story from episode 1, more so concerning my ex-wife. She was given 2 years to live after we separated, and I really had minimal contact with her. There was a few times she wanted to continue to reconcile. I mean, I understand that, she was terminally ill, probably very afraid and all that. But, what I was going through with our breakup, it really wasn't really resonating with me. So I had really had minimal contact with her. But I was continuing with taking the workshops, learning, practicing not only our Heartache yoga, but the pranic healing. And the thing about when you go down and start learning about pranic healing, you get a lot of healings done to you. You practice in classes, right? And over time, the healings start piling up and they just build on each other. And it really helped me to stay the course. I don't know where I would have been I might have just gone back home, which would have been the wrong decision, but feel that guilt and all that, it's a driving force, right? But this is where the practice of our Heartache yoga began to change me. My friends thought, yeah, you should go back and you should stay with her, because I would have kept all her half of the estate. And, she was very successful, had some family money. So there was, some dollars there, right? A significant amount of money. But in my mind, that would be stealing, right? I attribute it to the virtues that we learn in pranic healing and our Heartache yoga. I mean, really our Heartache yoga. And the virtues that I was focused on at that time was the generosity and non-stealing, the virtue of generosity and non-stealing. I would have felt staying with her and taking her money when she passed and staying with her for just that reason would have been like stealing. And I just couldn't do that. And I didn't want to do that. It was her money. She worked hard. She's like very successful in what she did. She's a very brilliant woman, and she earned that. And I had already filed for divorce. I didn't feel like I was entitled to anything, but that's the Heartache path. That's the practice that I'm putting into play in my life, right? And the other one is honesty and non-lying. So had I stayed with her, it would have been lying, right? I mean, I didn't love her, and what am I staying with you just so I can, keep my share of the money, my share of your money, all your earnings? It's yours to do whatever you want with it. So I felt that was lying. My friends didn't understand that at the time, and I really wasn't going to get into a deep conversation about it because I don't know, this was kind of new to me, and I was changing, and I didn't want to make a big deal, but they teased me about it, and we joked about it, but the thing of it is, if she hadn't finalized the divorce and then passed away, then all bets are off, and I would have kept it. But that, from a business standpoint, was just leverage to settle the divorce. But like I said, I just started to put into practice what I was learning, incorporating these teachings into my lifestyle. Follow simple instructions. I mean, the instructions are simple, but the work isn't necessarily simple, right? So minimal contact over the 2-year period, kept growing. She finally settled the divorce. And she thought the end was near, which is why she settled the divorce. And I was happy to settle with it. I could have not settled it, and maybe she passed, but I wanted to be over with. And like I said, I didn't want to steal, and I didn't want to lie. So what happened then? She asked to be friends after the divorce, and I refused to speak to her during the divorce because it's just always like, hey, get back together and all that. And I didn't want that. I needed to focus on doing what I was doing, right? So around that time, I say it was October, Master Glenn was in Philadelphia teaching a crystal healing workshop and a psychic self-defense workshop. And he pulled me aside at one point and he asked me how my ex was doing. Told him, I think probably the divorce had just been finalized. And he asked me if I was healing her. And I said, no. And he said, well, you should heal her. I'm like, okay. And I walked away, and then I came back like 20 minutes later. I'm like, I don't want to. I really, she wants to stay together. I just want to disconnect that energy, right? And so he said, well, just help her physically, and we'll have somebody else heal her. So other people were doing some healings on her as part of the certification program. So, but I started helping her. I started to take her to chemo every week. And now taking her to chemo every week was a big deal, not for the fact that it's chemo, but it's 2 hours to where her oncologist was. So that's 2 hours one way. Wait until she gets the blood work. She goes through the chair, drive home. It's an all-day thing. Coming off of that, you're very ill after being chemo. So it turned into a lot of care. She was bedridden, a lot of the time. And my puppy dog was there. So at one point, I moved into the house because she went like 8 or 9 days without getting out of bed, maybe to the bathroom, but not eating at all for like 8, 9 straight days. And I thought she was dying. And meanwhile, I'm in the house, the ex-husband, El Diablo, everybody says, from her side, I'm the devil, but, nobody from her family is checking on her. Nobody's like coming out and seeing her. I'm the only one that is there, and I'm actually caring about her and taking care of her. She needs that. She's in, dire straits. So that was unbelievable. But, so yeah, Master Glenn, put me on this course of action. Just, he didn't tell me to do it, but he recommended it. So she eventually recovered, got better. I was talking to her and I'm like, you haven't eaten in 9 days? And she's like, well, I haven't moved in 9 days, so I'm not burning any calories. She's very smart, but she survived that. We had many arguments, many fights along the way. We went to Key West. I traveled with her to Key West, and having a good time, but there's always the element of the drinking and bashing on my kids. And, just a trip there just turned into like a big brawl, like, which is pretty normal, which is why we're not married anymore. So it was just learning these triggers as we go. And I start to realize, because we work with the inner reflection, and we like, okay, I blew up today. What did I do wrong? What triggered me? And, you just sit back and do the inner reflection. And this is part of the work that we do. We could sit back and do our meditations and do that, but you have to roll up your sleeves and get in there. And that's what I'm learning through this process is I didn't want to do it. It was very difficult. She sued me to have my son removed from the house. I mean, and my kids are like, what are you doing? This is not good. And I said, this is what I need to do. My family didn't understand it. People were like, she would not do that for you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, so you wouldn't want me to do that for her. So you want me to be like the same as her, essentially. She needs me. I'm going to be there. And so that's kind of how it went. I did get help during this process. I did hire a coach. My good friend, Dawn Myers, she, nobody I trust more, I should say. There's a couple people maybe, but, she has a depth of understanding of spiritual concepts, and she's a great healer. She was my mentor in the psychotherapy certification program. She was my pod leader for a couple of years, and I co-lead the healing pod with her that lasted from COVID. I was in her meditation group, so I know her quite well. And but she was huge coming through, and the coaching. And my point is, we can't always do these things alone. We have a community of people, but I hired her as a coach. She would have helped me as a friend, but I wanted that, and I knew I needed that full professional help with the coaching and the healing to get through it. There were times where, like going through, and we have a blowout. I'm like, I can't talk to her, and I didn't talk to her for 3 weeks or a month, and then we get back into it, blow up, can't do it anymore. It might be 2 weeks since I haven't talked to her, and I'll call Dawn. I'm like, I'm done, and she'd be like, I don't think you are, and she was right. And, she just gave great advice. And one of the great pieces of advice that she gave me was, it's her karma to carry, not yours. And that was very powerful. So it was a amazing start to some profound turning point and growth in my life. So it is time to take a short commercial break, but when we come back from the break, I'm going to tell you a story about, I actually went to Africa with her on safari, and that was a huge turning point in my ability to kind of really appreciate and understand the situation, and staying out of my emotions, staying out of my triggers, and just really kind of moving forward with that. But like I said, time to take a commercial break. I'm Bob Kolazarek, and this is Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. I'll be right back.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery, or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I am Bob Kozarek, and this is Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. And what I was talking about before the break was just how I started to help my ex and how we just couldn't really pull it together. It's a struggle. It was just a struggle. I had to start focusing on my heart a lot. Just like start asking my heart, what's going on? How should I handle this? And that was a life hack that I started to use with a lot of frequency. But at one point, while I was helping her, she asked me to travel to Africa with her. And I said, absolutely not. That's just no way is that going to happen. Because we typically didn't travel well together. Normally there'd be a fight or something. So anyway, fast forward, she booked a trip to Africa with her sister, and her sister like sprained both of her ankles like a week before, so she's calling me, begging me, hey, can you go with me? So I'm like, okay, fine, sure. Long story short, I'm talking to my kids, what do you think? And they're like, heck yeah, go for it. So I'm braced for the travel with her. So I said, yeah. So I have to hurry up and get a visa, get the malaria pills, get the COVID testing and all that, because we had to get testing before. So we went. We got to Africa, and everything was fine until we got to the hotel. I think it was called the Hemingway in Nairobi. Beautiful place, absolutely gorgeous place. And at some point, we're just there for one night before we hop on a plane to go on safari. And I don't know what happened. I don't remember exactly, but she did or said something, and I did an eye roll. I eye rolled. And she got so upset by the eye roll. And I later asked a friend, I'm like, yeah, a woman friend. I'm like, yeah, I eye rolled. She's like, you eye rolled? I don't know. Is that a bad thing? I don't know. But I feel like I did something terrible with the eye roll. But anyway, I owned it. I totally owned it. And I'm like, yeah, it was eye roll worthy. And I eye rolled. Yes, I did, And boy, that sparked a couple of days of, just not nastiness, We got to the place where we were staying, a beautiful place. And she was so wiped out from the travel. I mean, she was like super dehydrated, couldn't get out of bed, but she was still pissed about the eye roll. And she's like screaming at me just to get out, get out, get out. I don't want you here, get out. I'm like, well, there's lions literally outside, so I am not going anywhere. There's no Ubers. We're in the middle of nowhere. But you start seeing things in a whole different light from that perspective. The yelling and everything is nothing overly out of the ordinary. It's happened before, but her being in such that weakened state, right? She just can't get out of bed. And, I know she's exhausted and I know she's hurting and all of that. So the heart starts opening up and, you're not taking it personally anymore at this point. You're not. And it starts to change you. So that was hard. I mean, it got to the point where we were thinking about airlifting her out. I mean, that's how bad she was. But they gave her some magic elixir. I don't know if it was some kind of something for dehydration, but she snapped out of it and bounced back somewhat. But The problem is, it was such an emotional up and down week, you know, for her. At one point, she's telling me to get out. The next, she's like begging me to stay. Why can't we get remarried? Why can't we work it out? I mean, it was like sobbing involved. And I'm just trying to stay calm and within and not react. I mean, I don't want to say, hey, well, you're dying. Can we just focus on getting you well? And at one point, I'm just like, yeah, okay, I'll try. We'll try, right? Calm the situation down. Honesty and non lying, I think, in that point, the little bit of a white lie is probably appropriate for that. But it wasn't going to last. Um, but yeah, you just the emotions and the triggers were amazing. So we get to after everything's said and done, we get to the Nairobi airport on the way home. Cocktailing, not me, but she was, and she's not talking to me again in Nairobi and at the airport. She didn't even sit next to me. So this is the way home after the trip. So um, we're business class flying home, and it's business class is really nice. You got those little sleeping pods, and you can like extend out. And we had the glass between us, and I didn't remove the glass. I wasn't talking to her. She wasn't talking to me. I'm just going to have a nice flight home, right? So of course I got a lot of crap for not taking the piece out and talk to her on the flight home. So anyway, can't win. It was like, I don't know, a few months later, 3 or 4 months later. I don't know. She was in the hospital again. I was taking care of her. I took her to the hospital, the emergency room. She had a major infection, and I came to check on her. She was home, and I was talking to her about Trevor, my son, and she just like launched into yelling at me. Um, when are you going to get that effing kid out of the house, kick him out, all this stuff? And, I didn't react mean, I, but I just said, you know what? That's the last time you're ever going to tell me that. Last time you're going to say that to me. And, I walked out, and that was it. I talked to her one time after that, and but it was closure, for me. And I was feeling the love, I was feeling the compassion, and I was going, the deeper levels of forgiveness that I thought I was forgiving her, but it just got deeper, and with the compassion. And um, yeah, it was an amazing process. But during that whole process, I just have learned and have come to learn that, and we hear this, but I've come to understand it, that our relationships are just with others are mirrors of ourselves, essentially. I mean, we can only show up to relationships to the level where we're showing up for ourselves. So some of the things that I've come to realize, and it's really the part of the business of my company, is the only person that we need to fix and focus on is ourselves. As within, so without. So we have to have that inner world journey, that inner world process where we can get into our heart space. But my outer world is aligning with my inner world. It hasn't always been so. I'm calm. My inner world is calm. I'm at peace. I have a peaceful life. I'm happy, you know. I mean, things could always be better, but I'm happy. I got a heart full of gratitude. I love life. I don't know that I've always been able to say that, but I love life and the magic in the world and in the greater cosmos when you start putting all these things together. You understand that relationships are where we go to give and not get, right? Nobody wants to be in a transactional relationship. Transactional relationships are unhealthy. That's not unconditional love. If you have unconditional love, you may be so mad at somebody, but you're going to treat them with love. You never want to see them hurt. You never want to intentionally injure anybody. You don't want that. At the same time, you have to have your own boundaries too. So, well, what I would say, the end result of me trying to be a friend to her and help her, even though we ended up going our own separate ways, and it didn't end up with us being friends. But I no longer intellectualize love. I feel it. I really deeply feel it. I have so much more compassion, understanding, and forgiveness for everyone. It translates outside of that one relationship, and it just goes into all aspects of all my relationships, friends, business associates, whomever, right? Certainly not perfect, but I'm just sharing this because this is my growth. This was the process. It's the Heartache way. I'm just trying to put these principles into to use, with the virtues and the forgiveness. The experience, like I said, it led to a lot more inner reflection, on my mistakes and what I did wrong, what I was doing wrong. I mean, I understand the triggers, I understand the emotions. Um, Two other big takeaways that I took were taking things personally. I stopped taking things personally from anybody. And the other thing was making assumptions. Um, I don't know if anybody's had read the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I love ancient teachings, and I love the teachings of the shamans. Don't take things personal. And when she was lying there and she's yelling at me and telling me to get out, but she's not doing that because of me. And nothing other people do is because of you, or because of me. People are just projecting of their own inner world, right? Their own dreams, their own realities, and these own dreams and own realities are based on their experiences, the traumas that they've had, the losses that they've had, how they offset with the successes that they had. The sum total of their experiences, good, bad, self doubt, you know, self-sabotaging behavior, old programs, it's all different for everybody, and that's the view in which people see the world and interact with the world, and thereby with you. So they can only react to you to the level of the way that they're reacting for themselves. All right. So the second agreement is don't assume anything, and to me that's just a very powerful thing. And I see this and I talk to clients. People have a tendency to get into their heads and start making up stories when we don't have control of our thoughts and our emotions, and they're just kind of rolling through nonstop. I have a couple women clients. Oh, my boyfriend Johnny, we had a great time last night, right? And he went home, and I texted him this morning, and it's been 4 to 6 hours, and I haven't heard from him. I don't know what's going on. Is he seeing somebody else? Is he mad at me? Is he secretly wanting to break up with me? I think that's and these are the thoughts that we tell ourselves in our heads, right? And most people do that, and we start using our ego and our subconscious to fill in the blanks of what we think is the reality. Meanwhile, we're just agitating ourselves. Making assumptions and getting pissed off at Johnny because Johnny hasn't texted me in 4 to 6 hours. I don't know what's going on. Meanwhile, Johnny's having a heck of a morning, right? He's forgot his cell phone. He's halfway to work. He gets a flat tire, has to change his tire, gets all trash, has to go home. It's taken forever to get there. So he finally calls, and now you're upset because he hadn't texted you and you created this drama in your head. And that's a simplistic version, but we all have some kind of component of that. So those are like two big takeaways. And when you start being aware of that, you start putting that away, your stillness levels still, come into play a little bit more, right? And you start becoming more aware of other things. One thing that also became aware of just expectations. I don't know if that's really the same as an assumption, but assumption is you're filling into the blanks with the facts on the ground, which was, yes, you had a great time, and yes, Johnny hadn't texted you in 46 hours, but setting expectations on other people too, that's another problem that a lot of people have. They have, oh, I expected Johnny to bring me flowers. I expected that he would have done this or done that. And you start getting mad because Johnny's not meeting your expectations, right? But nobody told Johnny these expectations. So Johnny doesn't even know that he's not meeting expectations. People that we work with or work for, we have expectations. We know what people are looking for. But people get upset when they have these expectations that aren't being met, and these expectations aren't being conveyed to the people that they get. So we're creating that inner angst for ourselves, and that's something that we need to be aware of and focus on. And we start dialing in more and more, right? Two other big things. Two of the four agreements: be impeccable with your word, and in our Heartache yoga we say right thoughts, right words, right actions. Just be kind. Just state the facts. Just do what you say you're going to do, and be kind with your words. Right thoughts, right words, and right actions, and always do your best. Every day we're not always going to be at our best, but if we do our best every day with whatever we have in the tank, that's good enough. Do your best as best can be. So that's it for right now. It's time to take a short commercial break. I'm your host, Bob Kolazarek, and this is Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. I'll be right back after this.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
It was almost instant, I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com. or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I am Bob Kolazarek, and you are watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. For the break, I was talking about the 4 agreements and how they impact my life. But like I said, the 2 that I go back to is just don't take anything personally. And what we learned through our Heartache yoga and, pranic psychotherapy is, we all have something. We all have traumas. We all have, and I just want to go back to my ex for a minute. I don't want anybody to think like she is like the most evil woman on the planet. I tell my kids, if you're going to blame her for the bad things, blame her for the good things too that she did for you. For her, food was love, right? Food is love. That's probably why I was 50 pounds heavier when we were together. she always made dinner for the kids, and she was a really good cook. People would find that surprising about her, but she always packed their lunches every day. She would pack their lunch and made sure they had a really nice lunch and really good dinner. Always made sure they had very nice clothes. Always make sure that they were well taken care of. But she just didn't know how to express her love in different ways. So it's important for them to understand and acknowledge that she loved them in her own way. She loved me in her own way. Was the kind of love that I needed or they needed? No. But we have an understanding, right? And I do know of the traumas that she had. And at the time we were together, I didn't have the skill set that I have now. I didn't have that understanding. I didn't have that. So that's sad. Um, but she was a beautiful woman. She was smart, Mensa qualified. It wasn't all bad, and she wasn't an evil person. But we all have damage, and this is just what happened between us. Had I know what I know now, I would have handled things completely different, and who knows what would have happened. But we can't change the past. We can forgive ourselves the past. And it's essential that we forgive ourselves, and not just everybody else, but we all make mistakes. We're all human, and that's how we grow. I tell you, I look back and I cringe at some of the way that I've behaved. And it's weird. I was with Master Glenn one time. We were driving to pick up our cars. We were having them detailed when I was up in Lyndhurst for a workshop. Just out of the blue, he just told me, he's like, Bob, it's not the way you just blow up or get mad. And we hadn't had any conversation before this, by the way. He came out and said it. It's the 1,000 times before that finally got you upset, and I knew exactly what he was talking about. So, people, death by 1,000 cuts. So, we need to get past that. I just want to sum up a few of the tools and techniques that I have been talking about over the last few weeks. They've worked for me, and they've worked for so many other people. As a spiritual life coach and healer, when working with me, my guidance would be to you is to, number one, work on the healings of the old traumas. We need to really work on our mindsets, because in order to create that vision and start putting these tools of life into play, we have to be able to handle our thoughts and our emotions. We have to be able to start identifying and start eliminating these negative thoughts. These negative thoughts of, I'm not good enough, there's somebody better than me, I'll never be able to do that. I had these thoughts too. I talk about it in episode 1. These are the things that we have to work through. To talk about going through that door of fear and self-doubt and trying to rise above it, and going through that door, how powerful that is to step into your authenticity and just be yourself. And that's what I was facing, because I didn't want to do this at first. Anybody who knows me knows that's true. It's hard to be out here and putting yourself out here and just telling your story, but it's important to tell the story. But I had like thoughts of, well, I'm not a TV show host, and nobody wants to care what I have to say or my experiences. There's better people out there than me. I'm certainly no expert, and blah blah blah. You want to figure out what your negative thoughts and self-sabotaging behaviors are. Just have somebody ask you to do something that you don't want to do, and you'll see how quickly. Why don't you guys come on the show with me? People get uptight, and I understand that. So, but working through that, there's great joy and happiness in making that progress and going to the next level. That's transformative. So not only do I personally started getting my heart transformed and became a heart-centered person, because just we want to work from our heart and not our lower emotions of the fear and the anger and the stress and all that. That's just lower nature. That's like being in hell. We want to be in heaven. We want to be in our heart. We want to exude love and just be love. All right. That's what the goal is. That's the goal of the soul. But we want to help you identify your old programs. How do you self-sabotage? Is it overreacting to outside influences, causing you to blow up? Does it cause damage to your personal or work relationships? I mean, I still struggle with this. One of the things that I've been struggling with is patience, and that's something else that I have to work on. I think I got my expectations under control. I don't really take anything personally. I don't make any assumptions whatsoever. But now, something that I'm working on is patience. Things take time to develop. Don't be blowing up at people. Just stay calm. But it's a work in progress. But to me, that's a self-sabotaging behavior. Or let my negative self-talk. Oh no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do. I'm not. That's not me. That's not me. So. And when we say that's not me, we start self-identifying. And self-identification is hugely important too, the way we self-identify. That's another area that's, been on my mind lately. So I sat through a Tony Robbins thing, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things was like, how do we self-identify? I'm a diabetic, right? And I say that is a horrible way to self-identify. I am a diabetic. I might as well just tell the universe to keep me sick because I keep telling myself that's who I am. I'm a diabetic. But now, being aware that I'm happy, healthy, and handsome, right? I have to just talk to myself in a better way. And because we create, right? We're constantly creating, our thoughts and our emotions, our mental and emotional bodies. So it's really, really hugely important to work on that. And like I said, that's why I'd really recommend starting with some psychotherapy healings if you're sad, depressed, or anything like that. So it's hugely important to get that mindset, because we can't create a nice vision for ourselves if we're like depressed and sad. We're not excited about anything. So let's start working on ourselves and getting our mindsets going. And then once we get our mindsets straight, we can start saying, okay, what vision do I want for my life? Where am I stuck? Right? We've identified the programs. We've identified the negative self-talk. We can help you disintegrate negative thoughts, right? We've talked about that in the past. We create these thought forms, right, in our energy body. We can eliminate these thought forms too. We can disintegrate them. We can erase them. We can just mentally make them go away. Don't put any emotions into it, right? When we start doing that, we start having, come into the heart. If you don't know how to come into the heart, meditation on twin hearts, I mean, that is a big part of any healing recommendation that I do. We start cultivating a healthy, improved mindset, right? We create that stillness. We're working on the assumptions and the negative stories we're telling ourselves. We start creating that stillness. We start getting better handle on our thoughts and emotions. When we do this, now we can start creating the exciting vision of the life that we want. So, like if you're working with me, and this is how I work, now we start, okay, what do you want for your spiritual life? What do you want for your work life? How's your romantic relationships, right? And then we start identifying it and just really kind of visualizing and just make it whatever you want. Dream big. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. Dream big. Don't dream small. You can't just, but that's, then start a plan and start taking action to do and live the life that you want, and stop in that cycle of insanity where we're just like stuck in our heads all the time. Just the head's just just nonstop. And I've been there, and it takes work and it takes awareness, but it gets easier as you focus on it. And of course, the Heartache practice helps out a lot. And I'm not trying to sell anybody on Heartache yoga, but that's what I do, and it's working for me. And it works for so many others. I mean, I know, we know hundreds of yogis, right? All living positive lives. And I hope on this show, if you go back and if this is the first time watching and you look at the different episodes, and the guests, Dr. Jason Yuan, Dr. Christopher No, Hangaba May, PhD, Kim Sire, a master's degree in education, and so forth. So, we're like modern day yogis. We want to do good. We want to help. We want to do service. We want to connect with our inner souls, with our higher souls, rather. But we need to live in the world. And, really, this is where our work is. This is, where we get to help people, where we get to help spread the light. It's not just Bob Kozarek. I'm telling you, Bob Kozarek would not have been here without Master Glenn, suggesting that I take care of my ex. With Kim Sire, who's been a huge mentor, Dawn Myers, same. These two ladies have been huge for me and encouraging me and keeping me going. So there's no lone ranger on the path. The path is we all have to do our own work, but we don't have to do it alone. There's people to support us and grow. And so the healings continue and the growth continues, but I hope you understand my process and what I'm sharing, because it was not easy and the work isn't easy, but it's essential and it's rewarding, and you start growing and your energy body starts getting stronger, through your meditations and your spiritual practice, taking care of your physical body. Stronger your physical body, the more energy, divine energy you can handle as it comes through. Spiritual cord gets bigger, energy body gets stronger, you become more stronger, better healer. And, you should just put more energy into work, into life, and creating and blessing in our lives, So the energy work is not just for healing. And everything is energy, and energy is everything. Everything is energy, and energy is everything. I think it was Einstein that said that. I don't know, but it's true in the quantum realm. And we just need to, I don't want to go too deep, but I hope you hear what I'm saying. But it's time to take a short commercial break. I'm your host, Bob Kozarek, and we're streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. I'll be right back.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBN Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to easysense.org
EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks for hanging with me through the episode. I am Bob Kozarek, and this is Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. A couple other things to say before we wrap up today. Talked about the work that we would do to get started, creating the mindset, making meditation on Twin Hearts part of your, at least weekly self-care. Getting a better handle on your thoughts and emotions. But a couple things we talk about is creating, good karma for yourselves. Simple instructions. Sow those good seeds. We reap what we sow. You want love in your life? Give love. You need help in your life? Give service. You need more money? Tithe. Be generous, right? So it's in giving that we receive. We exhale. We inhale, we exhale, right? So there's a cycle to life. Be generous, create that good karma. Karma doesn't only have to be bad. Everybody thinks karma is a bitch and all that, but karma doesn't have to be. That's what we try to do. Loving kindness, generosity. We just want to just create those good seeds for ourselves. And, seeds don't germ and grow overnight. You have to water them, you have to nurture them, but just make that part of your daily practice. Again, spirituality is a lifestyle. These are teachings that we hear in church all the time, or whatever, synagogue, mosque, wherever you go. But, I grew up hearing this stuff my life, Catholic Church, but, don't process it, don't understand it. There's deeper meanings, but we generate the good karma by sowing good seeds. And again, follow simple instructions. This isn't, hey, Bob said this, that sounds good, but you have to put the work in. You have to help the people that, wronged you, like I did, just we have to, and that's just an example. We just want to put that work in. We can't just sit on the sidelines and think everything's going to be okay. So sow the good seeds, good words, good thoughts, good deeds. And also the other big thing is the yin-yang golden rule. And what is the yin-yang golden rule? I think that was coined by Master Chopak Sui. Yang golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Yang is masculine energy, action-oriented. And the yin golden rule, don't do unto others what you don't want them to do unto you. So that's the feminine yin aspect of it. So in closing, I just want to say, I continue to learn about myself, and I continue to grow and transform through my Heartache yoga practice, and trying to sow the good seeds and treating people the way that, I want to be treated. And, if I know them well enough, how they want to be treated, right? I just want to continue to read and learn and grow. Through this spiritual lifestyle, I've become, like I said, more heart-centered, continually trying to improve my stillness, awareness, having good focused thought, practicing presence, and when my mind starts to roll on its own, just learn to be more loving, learn a much deeper level of forgiveness and compassion. And I really learned to take care of myself first. And that's huge. That's huge. And in that process, what my boundaries are. And my boundaries are simple. In bounds, what's in bounds? Everything that is in harmony with the vision of my life that I have for myself. Out of bounds, anything or anyone who disrupts my goals, my plans, and my visions that I have for myself. I just, that's my life, it's my vision, and I can say who's in bounds and who's out of bounds, and we all have that. We all have capacity to make our own boundaries. And just start saying no to things that aren't servicing you well. So anyway, that's how I approach my business and my clients, and it's very successful. The combination coaching and healing is very quick transformation. So that's it. Next week, my guest is Amalia Kamateros. Amalia is the author of Transmissions of Earth, Spirit Wisdom, and Spirit of the Stones. She's a psycho-shamanic practitioner, empowerment guide, intuitive energy healer, and speaker who started her career in Australia as a naturopathic doctor and has worked in the field of health and consciousness for over 30 years. She was the private health practitioner for the famous Australian rock band NXS for over 6 years, ministering to their health during their music tours of the 90s. And there's so much more to her. So can't wait till next week to talk with her. But that's it for me tonight. Thank you so much for watching, listening, sticking with me, sharing the program for anybody you think may be interested or it may help. I really appreciate that. So until next week, I'm Bob Kolazaric, and you've been watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Namaste, everyone.
This has been Greetings from the Ashram with host Bob Kolazaric. Through meaningful conversations and practical insights, this show invites you to explore the endless possibilities for personal growth, healing, and spiritual awakening. Tune in each week to discover how these practices can bring balance and harmony to your life, making it a true journey of self-discovery. Fridays, 7 p.m. on the Bold Brave TV network.